What is up, guys? My name is Lex and welcome back to the vlog. We are not in Florida anymore. As you can tell, we are here in Washington, D.C. visiting my brother and going to a wedding this weekend. And today we're going to be playing at MGM National Harbor in Maryland. I've been there probably 2 or 3 times, but not since 2019. The room is great. The action is good. The dealers are definitely professional. I'm excited to get down to the action. Going to be playing some 2-5 and 5-10. The last vlog I came out with, I shared with you guys the biggest pot I ever lost. It was pretty rough, and that was just about 2 days ago. So I'm gonna try to shake that off and come back in today, try to win some of that money back. But I don't wanna have that in the back of my mind. I don't wanna let that basically influence my thoughts and decisions. I wanna just try to go in there with a clear head, which is kind of the reason why I came here today. Just kind of walking around, checking out the sights, trying to relax before I head in there. But that is enough with the talk. Let's get to the poker. Let's get down to the table. Let's get to the action. Let's go. Welcome to the beautiful MGM National Harbor, one of my favorite rooms in the country to play poker in. We're going to start off our session at 1-3 while we wait for 2-5. Buying into this game for $500, which is the max. This table is pretty deep. We get right into the action here with our first hand, looking down at Ace-10 offsuit in the big blind. There is a limp and a raise to $11 in the cutoff. I make the call and the limper calls. Going to the flop of Ace-10 for 2 diamonds. We flop top 2 pair. I check. The limper bets $15, and now the initial raiser in the cutoff puts in a raise. He makes it $40. I look at his stack, and he has about $100 remaining. And with top 2 pair here, I am going to fast play this hand. I can get value from all flush draws, gut shot straight draws and flush draws, and also Ace X like Ace Jack, Ace Queen, Ace King, or possibly even Ace 4. So I'm going to put in another raise on this board. I end up raising it up here to $115. The action is now on the limper, and I'm expecting him to fold a lot of the time, but he gets a count and decides to make the call for $115. I look at his stack, and he has about $300 remaining, and the initial raiser ends up folding. So I was pretty surprised there. I thought it would be the other way around. So going to the turn, which is the deuce of spades, total brick, it does bring in 3-5, which is a gut shot, but I don't think this player is going to be playing that hand from that position. I think we have 2 options on this turn. We could bet small like $150 and then shove the river, or we could go all in, and I think that is the better option. I'm going to go all in here and put this guy to the test. I put him all in for $320. We don't get snap called here, which is amazing. That means he doesn't have a straight and he doesn't have a set, which means we're ahead, so we're rooting for a call. He thinks for about 10 seconds and puts in the chips. He makes a call going to the river, which is the king of clubs. I show Ace-10 for 2 pair, and it is good. We're going to be scooping down a $1,000 pot, our very first hand here at 1-3. This is exactly what we needed. If you guys have been following my vlog, you know I lost a $10,000 pot just last week, so we need this run good. We needed this pot, which is good. Started off the day up about $500. I raise pocket deuces on the button and the small blind calls. The flop comes out 4-7 deuce. We flop a set. He checks to me. I bet $12, and he pretty much snap calls my bet. Going to the turn, which is the jack of diamonds. We still have an amazing hand. I'm going to ramp up the betting now. Once he checks to me, I make it $35, and he pretty quickly folds. So we end up taking down another pot here.
All right, 5-10 player.
Last hand we play at 1-3 here, we have Jack 9 of diamonds in the cutoff position. I make it 12. The button and the small blind make the call. The flop comes out Jack 9 6 2 hearts. We flop top 2 pair. We are running good at this table so far. The first hour of the session, I put out a $30 C bet, and now the button decides to put all of his chips in there. He shoves all in for about $85. Folds back to me, and I make the snap call. We end up running the board out, and it comes out clean for us. I show my hand for 2 pair, and he shows Jack 6 suited for a worse 2 pair. So we end up stacking this guy. Last hand here at 1-3 before moving to 2-5. Running good so far, up about $500. Moving to the 2-5 table, which we have about $1,000 in our stack before. Looking down at King 4 of hearts in the cutoff position. It folds to me, and I decide to raise it up here pretty light, but I make it $20. The button and the small blind make the call. I put in the check for 2 reasons. 1, I have a pretty bad kicker, and 2, maybe the button will put in a bet with a worse hand like an 8, maybe a 6, a straight draw, or possibly a hand like pocket 9s, and he does decide to bet. He makes it $35. The small blind makes the call for $35, and my hand is too strong to fold, but not strong enough to raise, so that leaves one option, and it is call 35 and evaluate on the turn. The turn card is the Jack of diamonds. Shouldn't change too much unless my opponent had Jack 8 or King Jack. I check, and it checks all the way to the button, who checks through. Seems like a pretty good run out to me. No overcards to my king, and all the straight draws miss. So now the action's on the small blind, and he starts counting out some chips, and he decides to put out a bet. He bets $90 on this river. The way I played this hand, I don't think I can be folding for this sizing. I don't think my opponent's going to have any jacks in his range whenever he check calls to flop. So I put in a call. The button pretty quickly folds, and we get the good news. The small blind tells me he missed. I show king 4 for top pair, and it is good. We end up scooping down another pot here. We are 4 for 4, up about $700 on the night so far. After running bad for about 2 weeks straight and losing a $10,000 pot, full house over full house, we are running good this session, up about $700. Things are going good for us. We're making some hands and they are holding. Let's move on to the next one. The table has decided to do one round of $10 straddles. I have ace jack offsuit in middle position. I make it $30 and only the straddler makes the call. This player looked like a tighter regular player going to the flop of queen 7-3 rainbow. He checks it over to me and I put out a pretty standard c bet on this board. I bet $20 here. This board is very dry. My opponent cannot have pocket queens because he would 3-bet that preflop. I also don't think this tighter player would be playing a hand like queen 3, queen 7, or 7-3, so he really can't have too many strong hands on this board. I can have all the overpairs, the sets, and ace queen. Going to the turn, which is the 9, I'm going to continue to put the pressure on here. I'm going to double barrel, looking to potentially triple barrel bluff on the river, trying to get him off a weak queen or maybe a weaker 7. I bet $50 and my opponent pretty quickly lets it go, so the double barrel ends up working on this one. I am in under the gun +1 position with king 9 of spades, raise it up to $20, under the gun +2 makes the call, and the button makes the call. The flop is king, queen, 8, 2 clubs, we flop top pair. I decide to c-bet here, I make it $45, trying to get value from all straight draws, flush draws, queen x, and 8x holdings. The action is now on the player next to me who thinks for about 5 seconds and puts in the call for $45. The button folds, we're heads up to the turn, which is another queen. We are obviously losing to all queen x holdings now. I don't think a check is the best option. I think a bet fold to a raise is a better option. I end up sizing out a bet here. I make it $100 and my opponent snap folds, so we end up taking down another pot. There's a limp for $5. I have ace 10 suited in the cutoff position. I make it $25 before the button puts in a 3-bet. He makes it $85. The small blind cold calls $85. The limper ends up folding, and now the action's back on me. Given the fact that I'm pretty deep with both of these opponents, the button actually covers me, and I have about $1,200 in my stack. I make the call for $85 with my suited ace, looking to crush a board. Unfortunately, we do not smash this board. It comes out 8-9-5 with 1 spade. We do have some backdoor draws. Small blind checks, I check, and the button pretty quickly checks behind, going to the turn, which is another 9. So pairs the board here, and the small blind checks again. I think I now have an opportunity to try to steal this pot. I'm pretty sure the button has a hand like ace queen or ace king that he wanted to 3-bet preflop and then check back this flop. The small blind really can't have too strong of a hand given the fact that he checked twice on this board. So I bet big. I bet $160, trying to get my opponents off smaller pairs to the 8 and then ace king and ace queen that's beating us. The button thinks for a little bit of time, stares me down, and decides to fold. So we're 1 player down. Now we only have to get through the small blind. He tanks for a while, counts out his chips, and decides to let his cards go. So we get another bluff through. Things are running good so far this session. Our bluffs are working and our value hands are holding up. About 2 hours have gone by. We've lost some small pots, so we are up stuck around $200 to $300 before looking down at ace king on the button. There's a $25 raise and a call before I 3-bet to $80 on the button and both players call. We go to the flop of king 10-10 rainbow. We flop top pair, top kicker. When both of my opponents check to me, I put out a 1/3 pot size bet here. I make it $80. The action is now on the under the gun player, and he doesn't fold, he doesn't call, he puts in a raise. He makes it $250. Now I have a decision to make. When my opponent check raises his flop, he's saying he has a 10, but would he always check raise a 10 on this dry board? King 10-10 rainbow, I think a lot of the time he would check call, trying to put in the trap. Let me either value bet or bluff the turn and then put in a big check raise then. Obviously, he can still have a hand like Jack 10 or Queen 10 here where we're basically drawing dead, but it's pretty hard to flop trips, so I decide to put in the call for $250. He can still have a lot of bluffs like Queen Jack for open-ended. He can have Ace Jack or Ace Queen for a gut shot. He could even have a hand like Pocket Jacks or Pocket Nines, trying to raise the flop just to see where he's at. Going to the turn, which is the 8 of spades. And now the action's on the under the gun player, and he goes into the tank. He thinks for so long that I have to ask the dealer, where's the action?
You should be cool, right?
Where's the action? It's on me? Oh, Jesus, I had no idea. I didn't see him check, sorry.
That's why I'm hanging tight with you.
Okay. Well, now I gotta think because I thought he was thinking this whole time.
There you go. Yeah. Just double think. Take your time. Yeah, that's right. Take a long time.
The whole time I thought the action was on the under the gun player and he was thinking of whether he wanted to bet or check, but it turns out the action was on me the whole time. Now I feel kind of dumb and I'm not really sure what to do. I decide to check. I decide to check here, just pot control with my top pair. Given the fact that it's a 3-bet pot, my opponent can still possibly have a 10, going to the river, which is a 3. Now the under the gun player thinks for a little bit of time and pretty visibly checks. So now I know the action is on me and I have to decide what should I do. I'm definitely going to be betting now. Given the fact that he check raised the flop, check the turn, and then check the river, I'm almost 100% sure I have the best hand. My opponent could have a straight draw that he missed with like queen high or even ace high that he's not going to call any bet with. He could have an under pair like pocket jacks or pocket nines. I don't think he would be calling a bet with that hand either. But if he does have a king, like king jack or king queen, he might call an all in. So with all that being said, I decide to go for the max. All in.
Wow. Aggressive. Those kings again,
Whew. Nah, this time not king.
Oh, really?
We go big and go for the max, but my opponent pretty quickly folds. We still end up winning around a $750 pot there. That's the last significant hand of the night. I end up racking up my chips, heading to the cage, and cashing out.
Alright guys, that is it for the poker session tonight. I really enjoyed playing at MGM National Harbor. The room is really nice and there are a lot of games to choose from.
What are you doing? That's my poker vlog. Sorry about that, guys. Little brothers can just be so annoying. So, on to tonight's session results. Started off there at 1-3 and won a pretty big pot with ace-10. Ended up stacking that guy. Won a small pot there with pocket deuces, another small pot with jack-9 and diamonds. Won about $400 at 1-3. Went over to the 2-5 game. We didn't win any big, massive pots at 2-5, but we also didn't lose any big, massive pots. Basically just chipped away the entire night, tried to play good poker, tried not to punt, and really most importantly, tried not to call down with super weak marginal hands on the river, tried not to call down with ace high or king high. I've just lost so much money this past month by calling down way too light on the river, and I'm going to try to change that. So here's the deal. Financially, I can take a big downswing at 5-10. That is why I have the bankroll. I'm bankrolled for the game. I can play it. I can take a 10, a 15, a 20K downswing, and I'll be okay. But the worst thing is mentally. It's so hard to just go in there and just lose. I basically played 2 weeks ago. I lost 5 out of 6 of my sessions I played. Then this week, I lost $500. Next day, I lost $1,500. And then the next day, I lost $5,000. The vlog I just showed you guys, full house over full house. So mentally, it's like, am I ever going to win again? Am I ever going to flop a flush again or make a flush? I keep missing all my draws. I keep losing with aces. I keep losing with kings. It's just so tough to take mentally. But I'm trying to just kind of get through this, trying to keep playing good. And hopefully today is that first little bit on an upswing, I hope. I mean, it's tough to take, that is for sure, but I'm glad you guys are there with me. Thanks for all the support. I appreciate it. All the comments. I think I got 700 comments in my last video within the first 12 hours, which is awesome. I appreciate all the comments and all the good advice trying to hopefully get in this upswing. But today, booked a win, $860. Hope you guys liked this video. If you did, hit that like, subscribe, comment down below, share it to your friends, and until next time, I'll see you.
Alright guys, that is it for the poker session tonight. MGM Harbor is really nice. There's a lot of good games there. I'm really looking forward to going back next time.
It's like, All right, guys, that is it for the poker session. I really enjoy playing at MGM National Harbor. The TVs are...
All right, guys, that is it for the poker blog tonight. Did I call it a poker blog? Poker session tonight. I really enjoyed playing at MGM National Harbor. The room is really nice, and there are a lot of games to choose from. All right, guys, that is it for the poker session tonight. All right, guys, that is it for the poker session tonight. I really enjoyed playing at MGM National Harbor. The room is really nice, and there are a lot of great games to choose from.
What are you doing? That's my poker vlog.